Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Postgame Show, live from the Toyota Lounge, powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships and presented by Bet365. We are in that winner's lounge again. Avs defeat the Chicago Blackhawks 3-1 in a game that maybe was harder than it had to be, but how many times have I said that this year about the Colorado Avalanche, J-Mike?
They like to play with their food a little bit. Made it a little bit tougher on themselves than they needed to. The penalties, we'll get into it. It's a little bit frustrating, but 2-1 out of the break. You were able to really, honestly, probably do more than expected given the circumstances. So I think you should feel pretty good, all things considered.
Yes. At the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. I don't care if it's greasy, dirty, ugly. I don't care if it's dominant, and I don't care if it's anything in between. Especially this time of year, everyone's watching the standings. Everyone's trying to chase each other. Minnesota dropped the 2 points they took from you the other day. You get them back. You feel pretty good about that from Colorado's side of things. Like J. Mike said, I think there's a fair amount of negatives to actually talk about in this game, but the Avs won, and for large portions of it, we're definitively the better team. So even when we do talk about the negatives, understand I'm pretty positive about this hockey game. Don't let the worst of your inner thoughts get the best of you. That's my takeaway from this game.
Sometimes you've got to be able to compartmentalize, right? You've got to be able to separate the crazy from the rational, and that's hard as a fan. I get it. I suffer with that like the best of them, but honestly, all things considered, I'm really excited to talk about this performance.
Should be a fun one. Let's kick it off with the 60-second rundown. First period, Avs dominated at 5-on-5, but had nothing to show for it. Took some penalties they probably shouldn't have. Connor Bednar burns them on one of them. It's 1-0 Chicago from there. Second period was, honestly, 70% of it was a nothing burger. Just not a ton happened for the majority of the period. But the Avs finally break through at the end of a thing. Technically not on the power play, but just after it expires, it's Makar to get it tied 1-1 with 8 seconds left in the period. And then the Avs go out and prove they're the better team in the third. Gavin Brindley, the man to break the tie off of a rebound, a nice little finish. That would be your game winner. The Avs, again, do make life hard. They have to kill a couple more penalties of their own creation in the third, but they do that. And Makar is also credited with the empty netter. That gets you your 3-1 final. 50 seconds. Pretty easy on that front, but a lot of detail that I skipped over there. J-Mike, 5v5. Tonight is a weird one because, as I mentioned, Avs clearly the better team at 5v5. But you spent long stretches of this game where, yes, you're dominating possession. Yes, you're in control of the play. But how much danger were the Avs actually generating? Was the mindset a little bit too, I don't think passive is the right word, but not getting to the right areas?
Well, I mean, they were too passive in a couple of instances. That chance for a shorty was
literally passive, yeah.
But it was a weird one. I'm with you. It was one of those where if you were following the stats and the stats only, it kind of indicates a dominant performance from the Avs. They were significantly better, I feel like, than Chicago. But I'm with you. I don't know how much they really tested the goaltender. They put a lot of shots on nets, but it just, I don't know. It was a weird one. I'm not sure if the killer instinct was necessarily there for the entirety of the game.
I would agree. The Avs are such a good team, especially when they're playing a team like the Blackhawks, who are pretty bad 5-on-5, that they can get away with maybe not doing all of the details and still being the better team at 5-on-5, right? And ultimately, we do see the game-winning goal comes off of the details and being in the right positions and extending possessions. So they got there eventually, but I just don't know that you can settle for, particularly how often a shot comes from outside from Colorado with no one in front to be in rebound position. You're taking a low percentage shot that a normal low percentage shot with traffic in front, you're saying, hey, The actual shot might be low percentage, but what happens afterward? A low percentage shot with no one in front is, at best, you're hoping for an offensive zone faceoff.
Yeah, and the ironic thing is the go-ahead goal that Brindley scored, it is a product of when you finally have some traffic up front.
Yep.
Then it's not a bad scenario. So I don't know if the mindset is wrong necessarily, but the execution has certainly been off. And I just think you need more effort altogether from everybody when they've got possession the way that they do, because there were long stretches where the Avs were really just playing keep away.
Yep.
Somebody go, get in front, create traffic. Maybe you draw a penalty. Maybe you get a rebound like you did on the Brindley goal. It can't be, like Golden State Warriors basketball where you've got 5 out from the perimeter and there's nobody there to get a rebound. It kind of feels like they have that mentality at times. They want to get the cute goal, and we need more of the gritty goals.
I mean, if goals counted for 2 from out there, maybe you could pull off the Golden State Warriors style, but that doesn't happen in hockey. So, yeah, you have to get to the dirty areas. Apparently not the paint, the way the NHL has been calling goalie interference lately, but...
I don't know what it is. I was watching Pittsburgh, New York this morning.
Yeah. Made up. Straight made up, that goalie interference. None of that in this game, though. Let's work from the top to the bottom of the lineup here. Nathan MacKinnon is interesting. I think there are a lot of this game where you're starting to become frustrated with Nathan MacKinnon slowing play down at times, questionable decision-making. To be fair, I think there are portions of this game where every single Avs was struggling with their puck management, so I don't know that I blame him specifically too much for that. And you have all this frustration building with him, but then also the game-tying goal is a disgustingly good pass from him to set up Cale Makar.
And what I really liked about that instance was it was directly after, late in that power play, he had a high-danger opportunity shooting the puck. Yep. And I don't remember if he just missed the net altogether or if it just wasn't. Yeah, and you could see him, he almost kind of threw the head back, but then he locked right back in immediately. They keep the puck in the zone, and he delivers just a gorgeous feed, and credit Cale for finishing. But I mean, it was a huge moment for him, because those are the things that at times get frustrating about him, is less so the failure to execute on the shot. Certainly you'd like him to put it more on net there. But it's like the instances where he then, kind of sandbags for 15, 20 seconds because he's in his feels. And instead, we saw him, shake it off more or less and deliver a really key moment. So just from a leadership standpoint, that was huge. And you need to see that. Now, hopefully, you see him looking a little bit more like the Mac we know, but that feels kind of cheap of me to say that considering the points he's put up these last 2 games.
Well, look, that's a little bit of the deal with Nathan MacKinnon, right? You live with some of the frustrating stuff because realistically, once a game or more, he's going to pull a play like that out of the bag for you and ends up being a huge difference maker, even if you are, hey, you'd like a better thing here from Nathan MacKinnon. You'd like him to never do whatever he did in front of his own net there ever again. But he also created the game-tying goal, so you have to go back and forth with that. I think it's a good quote that Big E always used to make as people get frustrated with the turnovers from Nathan MacKinnon at times, which, yeah, I would like him to clean some of those up. But also, he has a lot of turnovers because he has the puck a lot more than everybody else. That's part of the deal.
It's a very valid point. And for all the faults, for the times where he maybe gets a little too cute with the puck and tries to do too much, I think the playmaking for others has probably been the best element of his game out of the Olympic break. So he's creating good opportunities for everyone else.
Yep. Would like the Avs to finish a few more of them, for sure. I think there's no doubt about that.
That's across the board right now, man.
Yeah.
These shot totals are nuts when you look at the lack of goals here.
It is. And this game didn't get quite to the extreme that Minnesota game did, but it's still a team that is machining out shots on goal at a rate where the puck needs to go in more. And again, they got there eventually. I don't need to be a stickler about that one specifically, but Colorado is too good of a team, is too skilled of a team to not score more efficiently. Part of that is absolutely special teams, which again, we'll get into, but these are not terrible shooters. The Avs don't maybe have a true ultra high-end shooter since Rantanen left, but Marty Necas is a pretty darn good shooter. Mac has always been a volume shooter, but is a good shooter. Gabe Landeskog quietly for a lot of his career has been a very good shooter, and his shooting has been awful out of the Olympic break. Even guys like Nichushkin, Nelson has quieted a bit on his goal-scoring ability. The Avs are better shooters than this. To me, that's maybe just ebb and flow of a hockey season, but I don't know. Is there more to it, J-Mike?
I think it's probably just a law of averages. I think the numbers will even out to where these guys are supposed to be realistically. But I will say, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, and just kind of the general lack of creating traffic and some of that kind of stuff. The Avs have good shooters, and I almost wonder if that's a detriment to the mentality at times. Like, obviously you would take that skill. This isn't me saying you don't want them to be good shooters, but it becomes easy to kind of play patient hockey, if you will, and you're willing to take some of these shots because it's like, yes, you have the ability, but how frequently are you really going to cash that in? And I just think at times, like, you just got to lean more into that. You know, we're not going to get this perfect wrister from the blue line, but let's go, muck it up and see if we can just kind of play dirty. Not dirty, but, do the dirty work.
It's what we talked about in the pregame a little bit. This was more about the penalties, but you got to be able to read the game that you're in, right?
Yes.
The Avs were 30 minutes into this game. Puck's not going in off of those perfect plays. You need to be able to read and adjust to maybe make the dirty play. And you know what? They did eventually get there. Credit to them for finding that in the third period, but maybe read the game at minute 15 instead of minute 45 would be nice.
I will say, too, with how good this team is in the third period especially, there's probably a calmness that largely is beneficial and is a product of their success, but also at times can be like you're a little too cool, calm, and collected. Like, let's raise the urgency a little bit here.
Yeah, there were times in this game where I would definitely like to have seen the Avs raise the urgency, but also, if your back pocket trick is being the best third period team in hockey, that's a pretty good back pocket trick to have. I mean, the number of losses the Avs have when tied or leading in the third period, you can count on one hand this year. So, pretty darn good.
They're clutch when it matters. And I mean, that's why this team's in the position that they're in.
They are still very, very good, even if you have frustrations with the team. And we're going to have to talk about special teams again, so I'm going to be frustrated, that's for sure. But those frustrations come in the context of they're supposed to be the best team in the league, and they are. So that bar is very high.
Well, and also, if all we did was say how great they are all the time, this show wouldn't be entertaining. We got a lot of shows here.
That's true.
The next couple of months, guys. We got to get into the weeds a little bit. Yes, this team's incredible, but it's just the little things night to night, and that's what's gonna make it interesting here down the stretch with just having to play so many games. Is can you lock in? Because we know you're highly skilled, we know you're driven. Like, I don't think there's ever a question of this team's motivation, at least for more than like a night or two. Everybody's gonna have an off night, but can you win the mental battle, which is really what this next month is going to be. The Avs versus the Avs, which has been a conversation at multiple points this year.
They can get out of their own way. They're going to win a lot. This one, not the turbo dunk I was hoping for, but it's still a W. We need to take our first break of the show. So let's shout out a few of our sponsors, including the fantastic folks over at, wait for it, Game Time. Go get yourself tickets to the Colorado Avalanche, or rather, They're going on the road, which a lot of you are not from Colorado. Even when they're on the road, you can get your tickets to Avs games on Game Time. If you want to see a game at home when they're back around, that's an option too. You can go see Nuggets games. You can go watch pretty much any sport under the sun when it comes to Game Time. And more than just that too. They even have concerts, theaters, and more. Any ticketed event, Game Time is your go-to shop. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's a hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust them and you'll get 100% authentic tickets on time and at the best price. Whether it's the last-minute ticket deal feature, the section selector, or you can just go to Game Time and use code DNVR and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Game Time has the deals. They even guarantee you the best price if you find tickets cheaper somewhere else. Game Time will reimburse you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use that DNVR code for $20 off your first purchase. Of course, terms apply. Download the Game Time app. Tap, ticket, go today.
Shout out the homies at Game Time. They're innovative. They're always changing the game. So are our friends at Taco Bell. They're at it again. They do not miss. The crazy scientists over there at T-Bell. They're back at it, and you're going to have to try it. It's the chicken bacon street chalupas, which that's going to be the only thing I'm going to be able to think about for the rest of the show. So thank you to Taco Bell for that. Get yourself 2 street-sized cheddar chalupa shells filled with slow-roasted chicken, flavorful bacon, freshly prepared pico de gallo, shredded cheese, and avocado ranch. Having trouble with that one. Don't forget to add one of the new items from the Taco Bell Luxe Value Menu with 10 items for $3 or under. The Luxe Value Menu at Taco Bell delivers bold, irresistible flavor and crave-worthy items at an unbelievable price. Nobody delivers everyday value and supports your hometown teams like Taco Bell. Live Más at Taco Bell.
Look, it's hard to pronounce the words right when you're salivating over the Taco Bell food, all right? I get it. I understand.
Well, I tried to make a bid on one, and then I accidentally mispronounced the next one. So you're playing with fire. You know, you try and be funny. That's what you get.
Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. We have the 3 stars of the game. Star number 3, I went with Mackenzie Blackwood on this one. Not because he was particularly tested in this game, but you look at a game where you give up a power play goal early and then you lock it down. You give up nothing else. And that is physically not that difficult in the game that he had to play. But mentally, when you're working your way through a game, you give up an early one, and then you're halfway through the game and you've given up, or rather you've faced a total of 6 shots. You have to find ways to keep yourself engaged. And Blackwood did that job tonight. He didn't give up that next goal that maybe could have made the Avs more vulnerable.
Yeah, I think you could say in back-to-back starts, he really isn't responsible for a goal allowed.
Pretty much,
He's been locked in. I mean, you can get ticky-tacky, you can go back and forth on it, but he's been really locked in, and I feel like he's seeing the puck well now. You could see from his positioning, he's getting out, and he's just very confident in his game, and it's been huge. And I think that's got to be really tough as a goaltender when you have faced 6 shots. And then, Chicago did kind of turn it on a little bit once the Avs tied it, and he had to step up and make 2 or 3 keys there.
Yep.
That's clutch, and he's just been so steady, which is what you need out of him.
Hard to be mad at him. It's not... I'm not going to pretend like he's played perfect. There are a couple of shots that beat him that ended up hitting the post tonight, but a post is not a shot on goal.
Fair. Yeah.
There's a balance there. Some of it maybe a bit lucky. Some of it Chicago didn't execute well enough. So Blackwood stopping what he needs to stop.
He had 2 go off his back the other night.
That's true.
He's probably due for a little bit of puck luck.
Owed a few. Fair enough for sure. Star number 2, Gavin Brindley gets the game-winning goal. We talked about it being a dirty, greasy play, the type of goal that the Avs have needed more of, and needed more out of someone like a Gavin Brindley. It's interesting because there's an argument that Gavin Brindley is playing for his job right now. The Avs are going to do some stuff at the deadline. It's going to shuffle the roster. Not that I think he's been bad after the break. I actually have quite liked his game in both the first 2 games, but production like this has to be there for him.
He'd been quiet from a point production standpoint, so this was big. And you know, like going back to the pregame conversation of who can kind of step up for you in some of these games while some of these guys coming back from the Olympic break are trying to get their feet back underneath them. And for him to come up with that goal in that setting, that's huge. And that's how you continue to earn playing time on a team that has this much depth. And I don't think he needs to like fear for his standing. I think there are a couple of other guys who are probably more likely to be moved, but
yeah,
you never know. I mean, the thing is, he was so solid early on in the year, it's probably elevated his value. So it's an interesting conversation.
It's a balance too, right? You look at a night like tonight, yes, Nathan MacKinnon gives you a 2-point night. Cale Makar gives you a multi-goal night, who we'll talk about him in a minute. You need to get it a little bit from everywhere. All right, you got some nice goals from your defense. You need a forward to step up and score. Not going to be every night, but some night you need those depth guys to step up and be the guy that gets a big goal for you. And I think especially on a night where you look at the way the game was playing out, the Avs' inability to find the perfect goal. You know what? Sometimes the depth guys need to be the guy that say, not follow me, not a leadership thing, but look at where I'm going. I went to the front of the net. This is how you solve this problem.
There's almost like a fearlessness that can come with being in his position of where you're not expected to be the highlight guy.
Yep.
Of just, I'm going to go in here and see if I can muck some stuff up, and I might, create something out of nothing. And that's exactly what he did.
I will say great recognition from him as well. Horrible defense net front from Artem Levshinov for Chicago on that play. May not have mattered if Brindley didn't recognize his defender was on the ice. He takes his time, collects the puck, pulls it back, and roofs it instead of panicking and slapping it into a pad.
Yeah, a little hezzy there.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why so many people are so excited about Gavin Brindley. He's not just that bottom six grinder that works it out. He's got enough skill on top to finish a play like that.
His IQ and his athleticism pop. Like, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but the intangibles are there. The effort's going to be there night to night. And he's been pretty opportunistic, to his credit, too. When he's been in that position where he has an opportunity, you got an open net there after you hold the puck for a second, he capitalized. And that's what you need more of, like, especially if some of the other guys, they're maybe in their head or it's just not their A game. Why not be the hero?
Yep. He's got a little bit more in the bag. That's all I'm saying there. Star number 1, it's going to Cale Makar. Do I think Cale Makar had the greatest game ever? No. But with 39 minutes into a game, you're about to be 0 for 4 on the power play. You need someone to step up and you need someone to get the job done. And the people you look to are the guys like Cale Makar. Yes, it's a great pass from Nathan MacKinnon. I don't even think it's that great of a shot from Cale Makar, to be honest. I think he doesn't get a ton on it. But it goes on net and it goes in. It's the exact play we've been begging Cale Makar to make for months. Nice to see it go in.
Sometimes, even if you don't get your best shot off, if you don't overthink it, if you're in the right position and you get a perfect feed the way you are, you're already set up for success. Just don't. Yeah, you'd like him to get a little bit more on it, but I mean, sometimes that's kind of the perfect example of why you've got to simplify things at times, right? Like, don't get in your head like the Avs did on the shorthanded opportunity. You're trying to make that extra cute just freaking shoot the puck sometimes, man, and good things are going to happen.
Yep. And this is a reality of the way the Avs are built. The Avs are an incredibly skilled team. I think you can make an argument that they have one of the best top 6 forward cores in the NHL. But the way they play hockey systemically and with the talent that they have, they rely on their defense to be productive. It has to be part of the offensive conversation for them to be successful as a team. This goes beyond Cale Makar, but Makar is absolutely the leader of that conversation. And when he is producing points, yes, that's good, probably good enough. But when he is scoring goals, that's what makes the Avs defense truly exceptional.
It just completely changes the geometry on the ice, and
Yep.
like everything opens up when you have to truly respect Kale's shot. And he kind of just feels like a guy who needed to see the puck find the back of the net a couple of times. So maybe I'm trying to will it into existence. Maybe this is me, being a homer, but kind of feels like this is the type of game that could, get him going again.
I hope so. We know just how lethal Cale Makar can be, and if the Avs get that version, which, hey, if he's saving it for the playoffs, I am open to that idea. But that version of Cale Makar, I don't want to say it makes the Avs unstoppable, but boy, does it make them scary.
I think he's the best all-around player in the world when he plays to his peak capability. So it's just encouraging to see that, and you need it, like you said. I mean, especially when you're not getting the type of goal production you would like from Val Nichushkin, and Nelson's cooled off a little bit, and Landy hasn't scored a ton. It makes this team so overwhelming when you start getting production from him, and then when you start getting the type of play you've had out of Manson of late too, who's also been producing a ton of points, it just makes you that much more overwhelming.
Yep, they can get it from everywhere. It's just about finding that tick more consistency with the actual finishing. Those are the 3 stars. I also wanted to get to the Xfinity X Factor. And this conversation includes this game, but also spreads out over the last handful of games. And I'm giving basically the Avalanche's 5-on-5 defense the Xfinity X Factor. When you look at the 3 games back from the break, the Colorado Avalanche have given up 2 goals at 5v5. 1 to Utah and 1 to Minnesota. All of the rest of them have either come on the power play or 6v5 situations. Now, again, we'll get into how they've given far too many of those power play situations up. But at 5-on-5, the Avs are averaging giving up less than a goal a game.
I think when you factor in the schedule and the fact that you got 3 and 4 out of the break, it's been impressive to see the way they're getting to the puck. I just feel like they haven't had a ton of instances where guys are chasing or they're out of position. I mean, it's hockey. Bad bounces are going to happen. You're going to get odd man rushes here and there. But they've played pretty disciplined. And especially tonight, I felt like they were in your face. It's like when you're trying to play sports against your dad growing up or something, and block the shot. Like, they're just right there in your grill. And it's been huge. And I mean, you've got to credit Kulak, right, for how well he's been able to adjust.
It helps. He has definitely elevated the defensive side of the game. And again, the Avs are imperfect. I'm not going to say every play they're making the perfect defensive option. You still see them at times struggle to get pucks out that maybe it should be a little bit cleaner. But when you are giving up that little, 1, goaltenders deserve some credit there too. But 2, the Avs seem to be a lot more comfortable. I don't know if playing with the edge is the right word, but you're seeing Manson much more consistently start laying hits down. He had a whole highlight package of them coming from this game. You're seeing the ability to... I mean, Devon Taves won multiple puck battles behind the other team's goal line in this game. The Avs defense has found a little bit of... Maybe freedom is not the right word, but it feels like there's a little bit less pressure on them. They're not feeling like they're gripping the sticks and having to play perfectly, and it's allowed them to play hockey the way they want to.
I think part of it is the success you had in the neutral zone tonight. Just the fact that you're not getting put in inopportune positions repeatedly. But I also, just kind of off of what you said, it feels to me like they're playing maybe with a sense of freedom, or just like they're not thinking and reacting. They're trusting their instincts, and their instincts are correct. It just feels like they're making the right reads and going instead, don't hesitate just a second. Like, now you're out of position. I've just been really impressed with these 6 guys, and I think if you can keep everybody healthy, you feel really good about the state of the defense going into the most important stretch of the regular season.
I certainly feel good about it, at least at 5-on-5. We'll leave it at that. That was the Xfinity X Factor. Xfinity, imagine that. And we do need to take our second break of the show here, so let's shout out a few more of our sponsors while we are at it, including the official vehicle of DNVR, which is Toyota. They've got a vehicle for everyone. You're Jocks Manson? I mean, you probably drive a truck, right? You're hauling stuff. You're doing the hard work. You're someone like Gavin Brindley? I mean, I don't know. He can take a beating, too. I struggle to place Gavin Brindley in a car. I feel like he should be a tiny little zippy car, but then also it's like a Corolla from 1999 that can just beat up and crash into anything. That maybe not the best choice of comparison there, but whatever you're looking for, Toyota has trucks, SUVs, sedans, and more, including the Tacoma and Land Cruiser, with 17 different models that have all-wheel or four-wheel drive available, so you can be secure on the roads or go off-roading if that's your thing. They also have 16 different hybrid vehicles to choose from, like hybrid trucks, the Tundra iForce Max, and they can take you anywhere you need to go. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you, including AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe and Centennial, Corbin Toyota in Boulder, Group Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Again, Toyota, not just the official vehicle of DNVR, but the official vehicle of the Colorado Avalanche. Toyota, let's go places.
I also want to talk to you about the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. You know, what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi, and what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? Well, you can with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with the sixth sense. Lets you stream the game even when the whole family's online. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. Here's the best part, y'all. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and Xfinity's best equipment comes included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Championships are won, records are broken, dreams grow bigger. But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable, and the price should stay put. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions do apply.
Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. I am presently doing everything I can to avoid talking about the special teams of this game. So instead, let's hear Jared Bednar talk about the special teams of this game and the rest of the game, too. Here's audio from Coach.
All right, go ahead. We'll start off with Colleen. Go ahead.
Coach, obviously penalties an issue last game, some penalties this game. What can you just say about the overall effort for the team? And
I liked their game tonight again. Like the work ethic, the competitiveness, and I think out of the first 3 games, like that's the tightest we've been defensively. You know, suppressing shots, just like I thought our intentions were good, and our commitment to defend and our conscience to defend was good tonight. And so, you know, I've liked what we created in Utah against Minnie again tonight, but I didn't love, like, I just think we gave up too many scoring chances in those first 2 games that we left them the chance. And tonight we were better. And, you know, penalty kill, we give up 1, but it was really good after that. And I liked their power play tonight. I think that was a really good sort of first step coming out of the break on how we'd like to get in attack mode, and they get us a big power play goal, even though it had just ended. It was a huge goal for us.
Jesse?
Coach, you look up there at one point in the second period, and geez, I think the shots were like 18-4 or something like that. Sam was saying that the chatter on the bench stayed super positive. Just how do you keep the team from getting frustrated when you guys are, you know, getting pucks in the net, they're just not going?
I don't find that our team gets frustrated when the flow of the game or the rhythm of the game is in our favor. Like, they don't worry too much about, like, the score, that it's 1-0, you know. They get frustrated a little bit, like if they get an opportunity and miss the net, or it gets blocked, or their goalie makes a save. But I think those are just like momentary, you know, things. I don't think they're carrying it with them throughout the course of the game. When we were playing the way we were playing, especially in the second period, I thought we got going even more. I think it's just easier to just like, everyone just stay with it. It's going to come. It's a matter of time, kind of thing.
Ryan Boldy?
Have you noticed with McKenzie that maybe it takes a little bit for him to really get his time back, feel the rhythm, and how have you felt about, you know, this little stretch for him post-break?
Well, yeah, I think he's played 2 really good games for us post-break. So, our goals and our intentions are to get him going a little bit more because he hasn't played a lot of hockey. And there's, the season's going to start ticking down here on games that I want him to be sharp. And so we'll rest him when we need to rest him. We'll kind of pick games in the schedule for Wedge. If Blackwood can keep playing the way he just played the last 2 games, then we're going to lean on him a little bit more just because he's had a late season to this point. But I think that's with any player. If you're not consistently feeling healthy and you're not in the lineup all the time, it does take a little bit to find your rhythm coming out of injuries and just to gain the confidence you need to be able to play well.
Evan, then Aaron.
I think it's 16 penalties in 3 games. What do you attribute to that, and is it easily fixable in your mind?
Oh yeah, I think it's easily fixable. Like the mini game, we took a lot of dumb penalties. When you get your stick up around a guy's head, you're getting called with it. We took a couple undisciplined penalties where I don't think we needed to engage in some stuff. Tonight was. There's some things that sometimes they make a play and we took penalties because we got beat 1-on-1 and we get reaching, right? Like Taser got stripped and it's a reactionary play. We don't see that happen very often, but they kind of slip by us on a couple plays and we take penalties, and sometimes those are good ones to take, sometimes they're not. But I think it's easily fixable, no question. Like, I'm not gonna worry about our discipline because of 1 game, the mini game, or 2 back-to-back games. I think we've been a disciplined team to this point in the year, and I think we continue to be, and it's just something we'll bring to their attention and try to correct.
Here.
Kel Makar admitted that there are some frustrations with the power play. How do you coach a group through that?
And we just did it tonight. Grabbed them all. We grabbed them all before the game, got really specific on what we want to try and do, got really specific on what the opposition was going to do, and talked to them about some reasons why I don't think it's been, working, just like some positioning details. It's a fine line between being good and bad, right? And execution is part of it, decision making is part of it, but also positioning and putting teams in tough spots if you know exactly the way they're going to kill something, right? So we got them all together before the game again, and we've done it in the past too. We do it all the time, but bring them together, get super specific on what we want to see, and I thought they did a really nice job of it. We still made some plays where we turned the puck over. We, lost a few battles that they sent the length of the ice. We misexecuted on some, but it was very intentional the way they played the power play tonight, and they got us a huge goal, and it took 2 minutes and 4 seconds to get it. we'll try to shrink that time down to about 30 seconds or whatever. But we were challenging them at the net, and there's different options and things that we can expand on, but we want to get really good at sort of the basics right now. We're starting fresh, and that's 2 power play goals in 3 games, and we'll take that as a starting point and move on from there.
Last 2, Ryan, then Megan.
Mackenzie praised Gavin Brindley's work ethic tonight and said he's been coming early to practice,
Yeah.
getting in extra work, and he gets that go-ahead goal tonight. What can you say about the spark that Brindley provides for this team?
Yeah, big goal. And I was so happy to see him because, those guys, we get in tight games and, Bardakov loses some ice time here and there, and it's not even from, something that I'm not seeing from those guys. It's just I rely heavily on, we had 3 veteran lines going, and then we got the line with Kells and the kids tonight, and sometimes Jury with the kids, and I'm trying to keep them involved. But I liked what they've been doing in their spot duty prior to that, and I wanted to get them out there another couple times, and it was a great shift again, and he gets rewarded by doing the right things. Bardakov had great poise with the puck multiple times in that shift, and then Brins gets out there and finds the loose puck net front, and I love the poise to pull it past the goalie and put it in the net. So I think they have that ability. I think they're growing their game, and on a night like tonight, it was a huge goal for us, so give them kudos.
Finish with Megan.
Let's kind
kind of a similar question, but that's 4 game-winning goals for Brindley in particular.
Yeah.
Drawing upon your experience as a player and a coach in a game like tonight where it is so tight, what's extra special about a player who might have limited minutes being able to find a key goal in a key moment, especially considering the pressure of that?
Yeah, like I think there's a balance there where you're still playing to win and be a difference maker without trying to do too much, right? And turning the puck over and having to go the other way. But I think both those guys, Barty and Brins, have done it. Like, it's not easy for a young player that's used to playing a lot. A challenge, oftentimes, especially in the first half of the year, it's something that they have to grow through is keeping their focus, staying ready. Their name gets called a lot and then they don't go. I put other people out, and then that kind of can be deflating. But you got to stay ready for when your name is called. And I think both those players have done a better job as the year's gone on of making the most of their ice time, even with big gaps in between their shifts. But I think Brins is a guy that, like both those guys, they want to make a difference and they want more ice time. And so it's a good start. Like, he gets out there tonight, he both guys make a big impact in the game by getting that goal. So I'll start out next game trying to play him a little bit more and keep him into the game a little bit longer.
Thanks, Jared.
Thanks.
From Bednar in the arena to our reporter in the arena, it is the courtesy call with Bailey Curtis live on the Xfinity mobile call-in line. Bailey, I said earlier on the show, a win is a win is a win. Is that true, or do the Avs need to find better ways to get things done?
I think you take them where you can get them at that point, especially considering, I guess, where the team is at coming out of the break. You've got a really tough schedule coming up here. You just finished a 3-4, and you're about to go on to another 3-4. You take it where.
Classic ball arena connection. Love it. And you're back.
No, you're trying to do whatever you can to survive. And just as I am on this Wi-Fi, apparently.
Yeah. I
but
they need Xfinity.
They do. I know a guy. We can hook him up. But no, it's definitely, I think, just kind of a mode of survival at that point. You're at this point. There's potential talks about canceling practice tomorrow just to kind of regain some legs. And as much as you can do that as possible, you take the wins where you can get them. Absolutely.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, but you've put a lot of shots on net these last 2 games. We're not necessarily sure if a ton of them were all that dangerous. What are your thoughts on just the offensive mentality right now?
Honestly, I'm taking it as every little step counts kind of process right now, because you look at before the break, and they were struggling to put 20 shots on net, let alone 40 or whatever it might be. So I'm kind of at the point of, like, if they can take that next step is that finishing and being able to put some of those high quality shots. And you saw some of them today, but I'd like to see that come from, all the way down the lineup. So it's a baby step type process. That's where I'm kind of at for me. That, and again, you've got guys that are tired. You've got guys that are still kind of recovering from break. You've got guys who are maybe trying to still get back into, regular season mode. So that I think will take time, but I think the mindset's in the right spot for sure.
You talk about the finishing, and I think definitely a fair issue for most of the team, but how good does it feel to see one go in for Cale?
Oh gosh, to see him kind of ride, his success in the Olympics and see that carry over into the regular season is so special. I think not just for us to be able to watch, but I think for him and, some of his confidence. I think sometimes it can get played down just a little bit, just how much confidence plays into, for guys like Cale Makar, for guys like Nathan MacKinnon. Like we know maybe that's huge for a Martin Necas who isn't quite on that tier. or maybe for guys like Gavin Brindley or, some of those other guys. But it truly means the world when, you're touted as one of the best players in the world and you see the results because of it. Goals like that are always huge. And when you can do it twice, take it where you can get it, right?
Absolutely.
To the credit of the PK, they killed the majority of them off, but another game where you run up the penalty minutes a little bit. Is there a discipline conversation to be had, or is this just a product of the schedule and kind of maybe an inevitability given the situation that you're in?
I think it could be a little bit of both, right? Because yes, there is that tired surviving factor, but it is a problem. And as Bednar mentioned, it can be an easy fix, right? So it comes down to simplifying things and trying to get the rest where you can get it. It's really going to be the biggest help. I think for me, that's the easy answer, right? Obviously it's a lot easier to say it than go out and do it. Especially for guys like Devon Taves and Gabriel Landeskog, who have maybe had a worse go of it recently on that account. But yeah, just get the rest where you can get it, and take the opportunities that you can to get right. Like it's an easy conversation, kind of simplifying and making sure you're putting two and two together in that regard.
Bednar again said he liked the power play today, which, look, if I'm being truly honest, that Cale Makar goal really comes off an extended shift from the power play. It's not going to count as a power play goal, but it's the power play that sets up that play. With that being said, the Avs are sitting at the bottom of the NHL, no matter how you want to chop it when it comes to their power play ability. At what point does the dissonance between the fan base and a head coach saying he liked the power play when they go 0 for 4 come to a head?
I thought his comment about it being a fine line between good and bad was very, very interesting. It's because of that, exact mindset of there's coach obviously looks at a lot more than maybe the average fan does, right? True. And seeing a lot of those nuances like that's quite literally his job. And so him saying that he liked the power play can be a much different answer than maybe you or me or the average fan or whatever it might be. And that's where I'm maybe trying to play devil's advocate here a little bit. It's hard. It's really difficult when those results aren't coming. But I do see a little bit of where he's coming from. Especially in a night like tonight where you'd move some things around and, maybe you're getting, he mentioned it, like that's a power play, like 4 seconds after it ends, that's all but a power play goal.
Yep.
Where it's just not where it matters. And so I do kind of understand the fine line comment, but I do think to get closer to that fine line means you have to find some of that consistency in it. And that is the part that the Avs are struggling with right now. If I were to sit there and grade today's power play, it's not something I loved, but it's not something I hated. And once you can get to more of those games where that continues to trend upward, I think you're on the right track to finally get past that good part of the line.
Did kind of seem like Nate was giving Marty a little bit more space to work with.
It did.
Yeah, no, and that's what makes me kind of interested in the whole, that's Mac's spot kind of line, because you see that implemented a lot in today's game. And, Nathan MacKinnon is a complete other, conversation in this game. But I really do appreciate the respect that he gave to Martin Necas and at least trying it out. Because you saw him, again, have a lot of success in that area during the Olympics. And that's part of what I kind of liked about today's power play, too, is you see some dangerous chances come from that spot where Martin Necas is. And Nathan MacKinnon's you're spreading out that penalty kill. Nathan McKinnon's able to do a little bit more behind the net and in proximity. And I think that's, if you can get a little bit more danger there and you've got that space to move, and they've been able to read off each other so well this season. If you can find that dynamic, I'm not opposed to splitting them up on the power play, but if they're going to work like that, I mean, that's all the respect in the world.
Last one for me, Gavin Brindley finally back on the board with a goal. How important is it, not just for him, but for the Avs to get that production from their depth like him?
Depth scoring always prevails. That is my answer to that question. As much depth scoring as you can get, the better. And Gavin Brindley being able to kind of find that edge again, I think is huge for the depth conversation on this team, especially when you're talking about, bolstering the bottom six. You're still looking to find one more piece before March 6th. And if you're able to pair a third or fourth line center, whatever you go out and get, with a Gavin Brindley who's finally found his gear again, I mean, who isn't terrified of that bottom six at that point? That's kind of what it comes down to for me. Huge confidence boost for Gavin Brindley, who, I mean, he kind of mentioned he's kind of been a little off his groove since he got injured against the Rangers, and being able to kind of find that again, not just a goal in general, but a game-winning goal, and that being so huge for the Avs too. I think it's the sky's the limit for that kid, and what better way to achieve that than with the Avs?
I don't think you've played an A game since coming back from the break, but you're 2-1. Even having 4 guys who played in that gold medal game, even having played 3 games in 4 days and a back-to-back, just big picture sense, how key was it for the Avs to take care of business here, especially given you did drop one against Minnesota? It's not the end of the world, but felt like quietly kind of a big game before you go out on the road.
No, absolutely. And being able to say that you've gone through a 3-4 with a 2-1-0 record, I mean, you're on the positive side of the record, which is all you can really ask for, especially coming out of the break. And guys are in completely different spots as far as maybe conditioning or different situations, and being able to do that at home before you go on another kind of grueling stretch of games. It always helps with momentum. Absolutely.
Not to get anyone's hopes up, but Dallas is losing to Nashville 2-1 at the second intermission. So Avs might be able to pick up a couple of points there. Bailey, any final thoughts on this one before we let you go?
Heck yeah. Big win at home. But
all right. I guess the Ballerina Wi-Fi said that's the end of that one. Bailey, thank you for calling in. This has been the Courtesy Call presented by Xfinity Mobile Call-In Line. Make sure you're following Bailey on Twitter, Bailey Curtis with 2 Y's in Bailey. Great stuff from her every game on there. For us, as we move into the final period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast, I did want to touch on the discipline a little bit more, because your best penalty kill is the one that you don't go on in the first place. Yeah, when you put yourself in that situation, you rely on your penalty kill to kill it. And I can forgive some of the penalties in the early parts of this game. You're feeling out the game, whatever. Some tough penalties come in a third period. At one point it was tied 1-1. You take a penalty early. That puts yourself in a dangerous spot. And then after you had acquired your 2-1 lead, you take another penalty later. That one, maybe the problem is more Nathan McKinnon played defense. Landy may have felt like he had to take a penalty in that situation. But lack of discipline in those areas is scary, because you get away with that against a team like Chicago. Do you think the Avs get away with that against a team like Dallas? Probably not.
And what's frustrating too is it's been a lot of just kind of instances of players not being focused enough, like stick discipline and stuff like that. And a couple of them have been ticky-tacky, but you're getting called for hooks and slashes left and right. It just...
No need.
It'd be one thing if you were like in a really physical game and you got a couple of borderline penalties because guys are like going too far and stuff like that. But just like the the ticky-tacky stuff like that can be killer, and especially in a tight game.
Yeah. You are the best 5-on-5 team in the NHL by like a lot. It's even more compounding when you take yourself out of that situation when you're the Avalanche. And I didn't really have a big problem with their penalty kill today. I didn't love it on the first goal, just giving up an odd man rush on a penalty kill. Yeah, it feels bad. Yeah. So I'm not going to be too much of a stickler on that side of it, but you've taken, what was it, 5 tonight? Technically 6, but the one was like half of one for penalty killing that you had to do. That's 3 games in a row where you've taken 5-6 penalties. Yeah, is there some out of your control? For sure, but there's also plenty in your control to cut that number down.
And it's just especially frustrating when you think about how good this team is 5-on-5. Like, if you just don't beat yourself in that regard, you're basically going to win 75-80% of the time, like, at least. So it's just one of those, don't beat yourself. You're too good and you're too talented and too deep for this type of consistent struggles with discipline.
You said that in the pregame too, right? Not every game. Sometimes teams beat you, but so many matchups this year for the Avs have come down to don't beat yourself. When the Avs play to their ability, look, teams can still take games off of them, but I don't think there's any team that would beat the Avs in a 7-game series if they play their best.
100%. And I mean, just how frustrating would it have been had you know, if you're looking up and you're down 2-1 a couple minutes into the third and you're out shooting them by 20-something shots again, and it just comes down to taking too many penalties. Like, that's the type of stuff that just absolutely kills momentum. And that is how you want to put yourself in a position where you're giving up ground. It's beating yourself in games where you were otherwise really impressive. And I think for the most part, you played a pretty good game here tonight. It wasn't perfect. It's not the A game that we're still hoping to see from this team, but I think it was probably my favorite performance of the 3 thus far.
I would agree. Best, despite maybe the lack of finishing at times, I would say the best wire-to-wire game. So, a fair shout there. A good shout from the Toyota chat as well from Randy. When you have too many men penalties in 3 games, that's just, pay attention, boys. Not that hard to get on and off the ice correctly.
You can't blame the refs for those.
Yep. I mean, you can, but that's even too much blaming the refs for me. You got to draw a line somewhere. Look, I think Bailey put it well. The schedule is hard. It is going to be grueling. You're going to have to push through. Some nights they're going to be hard ways to win. Some nights they're going to be easier ways to win. Tonight was a hard way to win, and you won. Does your power play need to be better? Yes. Do you need to be more disciplined? Yes. But you got the job done at the end of the day. You can hang your hat on that, and you can go play the next one.
And I think the most encouraging thing now is you played 9 periods of hockey outside of the break, and by far you've been the better team 5-on-5 for the vast majority of those stretches. So you look good. It's just little things that you've got to refine here and there. You've got to finish a little better. You've got to stop, putting yourself in a bad spot by taking unnecessary penalties. If you do that, and knock on wood, praise Jesus, if you can get the power play to show any life with some consistency, then you're going to go win a Stanley Cup. So I know it's a thing that's going to continue to be frustrating for the fans until they figure it out. I don't know if they're going to figure it out. We're really far into the season, and it's still an issue, so we'll see. But you're in a really good spot for the most part.
I'll end the show with one little nugget for the Doomers. While I am very happy with the Avs being 2-1 in these 3 games and the quality of play that they've gotten, I made a tweet about this. It's actually gotten worse because that was not at the end of this game. Since January 1st, the Avs' net power play is operating at 1.8%. The next closest is Philadelphia's at 7.5.
That's so
genuinely
ugly. That hurts my heart.
Impossibly bad. It cannot. You could accidentally put together about better power play across what is 19 games. Like, I understand the Avs are bad and the power play and they need to play better, but to get to a number that low, there is also some things breaking against them. The universe hates the Avs power play right now.
It's a statistical anomaly in some sense. Like,
yep.
You should be able to bullshit your way into like 4 or 5%. Right, I would feel like
1 out of 20. Like, it's borderline unbelievable that a number like that can even exist. We do have one super chat to get here from Benny Benito, who says, "Yay for the win. Thanks for the pod, Rudo and J Mike. PS, rumor has it that the puck Brent Burns blasted to Mars in Minnesota game still hasn't made it back down to earth yet." Yeah, that one was up there. I don't want to see that puck ever again, though. I hope it burns up in the atmosphere if it made it that high up there. J Mike, any final thoughts since we are off tomorrow?
Get some rest while you can. Get your legs underneath you. The next 2 weeks are huge. You can basically wrap up the division. So if you do what you're supposed to over these next 2 weeks, you're sitting pretty going into the postseason.
Back to work, not tomorrow, but Monday for the Avs as they're skipping practice too. So the next time you see us, it will be pregame for the game on Monday. We appreciate y'all. This has been the DNVR Avalanche podcast presented by Bet365.
We all silly like the mayor.